¿Qué pasó, mi gente? It's MarkDip25 coming at you. I just wanted to make a video. It's been a while since I've made a couple. I've been really busy at work. But yeah, now that I've had a chance to do this, I just kind of wanted to give my take on what's going on. We're pretty much at the middle of the season. It's All-Star Game on the 17th. And I kind of wanted to weigh in on how the conferences are shaping up and my predictions as to who's going to make the playoffs. I'm probably going to separate this into two videos. This first one, I'm going to talk about the Eastern Conference. And then the next video, I'm going to talk about the Western Conference. So, within the East, we have your top 8 right now as being the Milwaukee Bucks, the Toronto Raptors, the Indiana Pacers, the Boston Celtics, Philadelphia 76ers, Brooklyn Nets, Charlotte Hornets, and Detroit Pistons. And right now, if you want to call it a tie right now, the Pistons and the Heat are tied for 8th. And then with the rest of the league, it's Orlando Magic, Washington Wizards, Atlanta Hawks, Chicago Bulls, Cleveland Cavaliers, and the New York Knicks in dead last. Now, as far as how each team is shaping up, the New York Knicks, they're definitely looking like they might get the first seed. The Phoenix Suns in the West might look like another, lottery team. But I think ultimately the New York Knicks are pushing to get Zion. That's been their plan, I think, for this past few weeks at this point, because they can't seem to make anything work. But there is high hopes for them in the future. Dennis Smith Jr., and a lot of people are going to complain about his stats. Like, oh, he's taking, field goal percentage. Twitter likes to talk shit on people. But you know what? Dennis Smith Jr. has been a spark in this team. So I don't think that things are going to go too much farther south after this season. I mean, they're not making the playoffs, obviously. They're going for the lottery pick. Same thing can be said about the Hawks, Bulls, and Cavaliers. They're just not getting it done. Trae Young has been doing well for the Hawks. Lauri Markkanen and Zach LaVine have been doing well for the Bulls. The Cavaliers, there hasn't been one true spark. I guess Kevin Love has been okay. But other than that, the Cavaliers haven't been too they haven't been too surprising, obviously. And that's expected after LeBron left. But yeah, these teams just aren't cutting it this year. We're gonna see what happens in the draft. The Wizards, they're obviously not gonna make the playoffs. I mean, Beal is a heck of a player, but you can't do anything without John Wall. They weren't even doing anything with John Wall at these past couple of years. It's kind of saddening how the Washington Wizards have kind of digressed into this point. So we're going to see what happens with John Wall's future and Bradley Beal's future this coming offseason. I mean, I don't think they're free agents, but I think there might be some trades in order. They let go of Markieff Morris, who signed with the Thunder. So that's another thing. So the Orlando Magic, I don't see them making a playoff push either, unless Markelle Fultz decides to ball out and overtake the Heat, Pistons, and Hornets, which again is highly unlikely. And they got rid of Simmons to go to the Sixers, which is a good pickup by them. But we'll see what happens. As far as the Heat and the Pistons, I think the Pistons have a better shot of making the playoffs than the Heat. It's Dwayne Wade's last season, and I'm not certain he's going to make the playoffs. Because I just don't think this team has what it takes. I mean, you could all dispute me, well, they made it last season. It's like, okay, but Blake Griffin now has had time to really gel with the Pistons, so I think they have a more legitimate shot at making the playoffs. And I think they might make the 7th seed over the Hornets. Like, Kemba Walker's keeping him in it, but I just don't think that's going to be enough to keep him in the 7th spot as it is. I mean, because as it stands, like, the Heat, Pistons, and Hornets are all pretty much neck and neck for that 7th and 8th spot. But I think ultimately the Pistons make the 7th seed. The Brooklyn Nets have been really surprising this season. They did more than what was expected. D'Angelo Russell is having a pretty good season. So, yeah, I think this is probably where they stay at the 6th spot. They're good enough to be in it, but they're just not good enough to get above the 5th and 4th seed. Right now, in those spots, you have the Celtics and the Sixers. I don't think, I mean, with the new addition of Tobias Harris and some other key parts, I don't think they stay 5th seed. I think they might make a push for that 3rd seed at least. The Celtics, they haven't really made any major moves, so they are either going to be fighting for that third seed, or they're going to stay 4th. But I don't see them like falling down to the 5th because they still have a decent team, and with Kyrie Irving, just being there, it's going to be they're a pretty strong team. I know they've been saying, oh well, the Celtics have been playing way better without Kyrie, but I have to disagree. They may be on a stretch where they're not having him and they're doing okay, but ultimately, and people keep saying this, a lot of YouTubers, a lot of other people, the Celtics, yeah, they made it to the conference finals, but they cannot get over the hump without Kyrie and Hayward. Hayward, yes, he struggled, but you know what? He's still a key factor. He's still a good piece when he's on. So I have a feeling the Celtics are at least going to be the 4th or the 3rd. It's going to be between them and the Sixers at this point for that. I think the Pacers, despite them doing extremely well without Victor Oladipo, I think they're going to end up the 5th seed. Because that's going to wear on them not having Victor Oladipo at the head. So they're a heck of a team, and I'm really happy for them. But without Victor Oladipo, I just don't see them staying at the 3rd seed. Now, between the Raptors and the Bucks, Bucks are first, Raptors are second right now. The Milwaukee Bucks are a strong team. However, I really think the Toronto Raptors, with the addition of Marc Gasol, I think they have a better chance of landing the 1st seed than the Bucks. If Kawhi Leonard doesn't take any more rests, I think the Raptors clinch this. The Bucks are a strong team, and Giannis Antetokounmpo is having pretty much an MVP type season, but I just don't think that's gonna land him the 1st seed. I mean, they're a heck of a team, and people are probably going to give me shit for this, but I think with the addition of Gasol, they're going to have the Raptors are going to be a better defensive team overall. I think so. So we're going to see what happens, but I think ultimately, as far as standings go, I have the Raptors at 1st, the Bucks at 2nd, the Sixers at 3rd because of the addition of Tobias Harris, the Celtics at 4th, the Pacers 5th, the Nets 6th, the Charlotte Hornets 7th. Actually, no. I don't have the Charlotte Hornets 7th. I have the Pistons 7th, and the Hornets 8th. Yeah, that's how I have it, and I think that's reasonable. The Heat may surprise me, make a push, but I think ultimately Blake Griffin and the Pistons are gonna win out and at least get a higher seed. And the Hornets with Kemba Walker, I mean, who would you rather have, an aging Dwayne Wade or a pretty much prime Kemba Walker? And I think that's the key difference that's going to keep the Hornets in this playoff race, possibly to the 8th seed. And I think with Blake Griffin at the helm for the Pistons, I think they're going to make it to the 7th. But that's how I think the East is going to shape out. I'm going to do the West next. But anyhow, let me know what you think. Suscríbete a mi canal. Ponte un like. Y hasta luego, mi gente. Adiós.